The coaching staff is starting to come together for men's basketball as assistant coaches begin to be introduced into the program. Hello, I'm Tegan Lamont.
And I'm Dana Pecora. The women's water polo team is heading into their third year as a program, and we've got the inside scoop. You're watching LaSalle TV's Home for Explorer Athletics, SportsLine.
Welcome to SportsLine. It's been a busy week for LaSalle sports, and we will catch you up on all the action, including 5 games from baseball, who continues to struggle.
And later, I sit down with sophomore Stephanie Morales to talk about the ups and downs of the young water polo team.
But first, let's take a look at our SportsLine top 3.
Number 1, Athletic Director Bill Bradshaw will be one of 15 inductees into the Greater Buffalo Sports Hall of Fame this year. Bradshaw is from Lewiston, New York, and attended Bishop Duffy High School before coming to LaSalle to play baseball in 1965. With the Explorers, Bradshaw was an All-American and held a batting average of .360 in his 4 years at LaSalle. He then went on to play professional baseball for the Washington Senators. Upon retiring from the sport, he served as Director of Athletics at Niagara, DePaul, and Temple before coming back to LaSalle. Bradshaw will be officially inducted into the Buffalo Sports Hall of Fame in June.
Number 2, in one of his first moves as head coach, Ashley Howard retained Donnie Carr as an assistant coach. Carr became an assistant coach at LaSalle back in July 2017. Like Howard, Carr is also a local product. He scored 1,470 points in his high school career at Roman Catholic. Carr then went on to play at LaSalle, where he was named A-10 Rookie of the Year after his freshman season. He was a team and conference leader in points per game throughout his college career and was one of the few Explorers to reach 2,000 career points. Carr then coached at Roman Catholic and Holy Family University before returning to LaSalle. Howard also added Kyle Griffin to his coaching roster. Griffin is a native of Allentown, PA. He played 2 seasons at LaSalle before transferring to Siena to finish out his collegiate career. He spent 3 seasons as an assistant coach at Lehigh before becoming the assistant coach at Robert Morris. We are excited to see what this revamped coaching staff has in store for next season.
And number 3, Bridget Ruskey from the lacrosse team earned her second A-10 Rookie of the Week nod. The freshman played a large role in LaSalle's first A-10 wins this past week. Ruskey had 7 goals and 2 assists in her last 2 games, including the game-winning goal against Duquesne in overtime. She also had a team high of 4 goals in a blowout win against St. Bonaventure. Ruskey currently ranks 5th in the A-10 in goals with 41. Although she is only a freshman, Ruskey plays with the poise of a veteran and continues to be a bright spot on a struggling team.
Well, I think the first thing I want to kick this off with is talking about Ashley Howard. He said in his introductory press conference that his first goal was to figure out his staff. Keeping on Donnie Carr is a big thing for him.
Yeah.
With a new coaching staff, there's a lot of turnover that comes. And having a guy that can be there and has been with the guys and knows the players' strengths and weaknesses, that's a big part of being a head coach, is having somebody that knows what's going on
team,
already.
yeah. I mean, he's keeping around a familiar face, for the kids who are already there playing.
Right.
So.
And then another guy that he brought in was Kyle Griffin, who he claims is going to be a really good help for them in recruiting. So.
Yeah. Well, we hope so. Bridget Ruskey, I also want to talk about her of the women's lacrosse team.
Yep.
So this is we've talked about her for weeks and weeks and weeks. She has just been a bright spot on a struggling team.
Yep.
And she's only a freshman. So to me, this is only her second A-10 Rookie of the Week. Yeah. And I think she probably deserves Rookie of the Week every single week.
She's 5th in scoring in the A-10.
Yeah, for a freshman.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if Richmond has the 2 top scorers in the conference. So if they have the 2 top scorers, maybe one of them is a freshman and maybe she's winning A-10 Rookie of the Week a lot. But,
yeah.
I don't know what more Bridget can do to win accolades.
Yeah, I mean, and it's only, the best part is she is only a freshman. It's only going to get better, and we're really, really excited to see her kind of grow these next couple years. I know. Hopefully the struggling team can kind of gel because we have some great talent.
Absolutely. Well, that's all for this week's headlines. Let's see how our teams fared in the last week. The baseball team picked up a win against Fordham in Game 1 of a 3-game series. A leadoff triple by Brian Dudek set the Explorers up in the 8th inning. Chase Arnold then came up to the plate and hit a double, which scored Dudek and tied the game. Giancarlo Rivera came in as a pinch runner and scored the go-ahead run off an infield single by Tommy Toole. The Explorers would hold on and take Game 1 by a score of 6-5. The Explorers lost the next 2 games, 8-12 and 4-3. Struggles continued for LaSalle against Penn. In the bottom of the second, the Quakers' bats came alive and they scored 12 runs. Penn would add on more runs in the later innings to take a 17-7 win over LaSalle. The men finally snapped their 3-game losing streak against Villanova. An 8th-inning RBI single by Tommy Toole ultimately made the difference as the Explorers claimed a narrow 7-6 win over the Wildcats.
Softball went 1-3 in a series against A-10 rival George Washington before dropping both games of a doubleheader against Drexel. The Explorers found themselves down 10-1 in the early frames against George Washington. They would score 9 unanswered runs in the 6th to tie the game before George Washington would take back the lead in the bottom half of the inning with a deciding 2-run homer, ending the game 12-10. The Blue and Gold would lose the second game on a walk-off single in the 9th inning by a final score of 4-3. LaSalle would take a game from George Washington, scoring 6 runs in the first 4 frames. Drexel dominated the Explorers in a doubleheader on April 18th, outscoring LaSalle 20-7 over the 2 games. Bridget McGee hit a 2-run homer in the 4th inning. Emma Schweigert added a home run in the 8th, ending the game 10-5.
It was a great week for lacrosse as the offense continued to stand out in back-to-back conference wins. The first came on April 13th at home against Duquesne. The game went to overtime where standout freshman Bridget Ruskey took the game into her own hands and went coast to coast for the game winner, one of 3 tallies for her on the day. Brittany Edwards also continued her hot streak as she added 5 goals of her own. The outstanding offensive performance led to a 15-14 victory. The second game of the week for lacrosse was again at McCarthy Stadium, this time against St. Bonaventure. The Bonnies' struggles continued against LaSalle as the 14-2 loss moved them to 0-4 on the season. Ruskey scored another 4 goals in the contest, along with 3 scores from Rachel Seplow. Emily Johnston caused a team-high 3 turnovers and controlled 7 draws, while Lynn Frankel made 8 saves and got the win.
The men's track and field team competed in the Temple Owl Invitational, where 3 Explorers earned victories in the meet. Those Explorers were Chase Campbell, Dylan Burnett, and Zaki Williams. The wins contributed to the team's total as the Explorers finished the meet in 3rd place with 103 points. Campbell won the 400-meter dash with a time of 49 seconds, while Burnett won the 110-meter hurdles, clocking in with a time just under 15 seconds. Lastly, Williams took the win in the triple jump with a jump of about 14 meters. Other notable finishers for the Explorers were Aki Hall and Jordan Patterson, who followed Burnett in 2nd and 3rd in the 110 hurdles. Isaiah Akil finished 3rd in the 400-meter dash with a time just under 50 seconds.
Women's track and field also competed at the Temple's Owl Invitational over the weekend. Ariel Mitchell came up with a 2nd-place finish in the 100-meter dash with a time of 12.12. Chidima Matthew followed behind her teammate in 3rd, while Marissa Francis finished 6th. Matthew finished 2nd in the 200-meter, while Desiree Osley finished 6th, and Amber Jenkins came in shortly behind in 7th. Osley also finished in 3rd in the 400-meter, while Jenkins recorded a 4th-place finish. In the jumping events, Jessica Bryant leapt 5.47 meters in the long jump to take 3rd place. Teammate Kalia Miller finished 5th in the event. Overall, the team finished 4th of 8 teams with a total of 66 points.
The women's water polo team wrapped up a winless regular season against 4 MAAC opponents. LaSalle opened the weekend against St. Francis and were defeated 9-4. Scoring was split between freshman Madison Martinez and sophomore Caitlin Kubo with 2 goals each. The next match was a 14-9 defeat at the hands of Siena. LaSalle then came home to Kirkpool for their final 2 matchups. The first, a loss to Iona by a score of 12-4. Martinez was once again the leading scorer for the Explorers, scoring 2 of their 4 goals. The last match of the year was an offensive explosion for the blue and gold, scoring 15 goals against Villanova, but ultimately falling to the Wildcats 18-15.
The women's golf team took to the links at the Tullamore Country Club to host a home tri-match against Niagara and Delaware State. Redshirt freshman Maribel Declan and senior Miriam Colon led the charge for the Explorers as each carded a 91 to earn them a tie for the third in the individual standings. Freshmen Franca Hurtado and Gina Lizo also provided impressive performances on the course. Despite strong play from the Explorers, the women were unable to make it out on top. Delaware State would take the top spot, finishing with a final score of 363. Niagara took second with a total of 367, while the team from LaSalle finished third with a final score of 387.
The men's tennis team headed into their final non-conference match of the season last Friday against Delaware and unfortunately were unable to come out on top. The team suffered a 4-0 loss despite a hard-fought battle. The Explorers fought hard during doubles play as they took 2 out of the 3 matches into tiebreakers. The duo of Patrick Pasquale and Colin Lucius were able to pull out a win at the number 3 spot in a 10-8 decision in the tiebreak. However, the blue and gold had an unsuccessful go-around in singles play as they lost in straight sets at the number 2, 4, and 5 spots, giving the Blue Hens the final 4-0 win. The women's team, however, found their success against Rider with their second consecutive sweep victory. The team defeated Rider 4-0 on Wednesday, which marked the 5th win of the season. All 3 doubles matches were won by the Explorers, and Tiffany Theophil took the victory in the number 1 singles position.
The rowing team dove back into the Schuylkill this weekend at the Kerr Cup. The men's freshman 8 performed well, advancing in their first heat, finishing second only behind Temple. Things didn't go quite as planned in the final as the team dropped down to 5th. The men's varsity 8 did not do so well. The first and second team both finished dead last in both of their heats with times over 7 minutes. The women's team only competed in varsity 4s. The first team was led by junior Jessica Lindsay at stroke as they narrowly missed a second-place finish with a time only 4 seconds behind Rhode Island. The second team did not do as well, finishing 5th in a 6-boat field.
Well, that wraps it up for recaps this week, but when we come back, we've got another edition of On the Sidelines, so stay tuned.
Hey, I'm Eddie Dunn, host of LaSalle's favorite TV game show, Q&A. Do you know that LaSalle TV is an entirely student-run organization? Probably, right? Do you also know that I happen to know all of the words to Eminem's Rap God? It's crazy, right? It's like 6 minutes. I'm not going to do it here, but just trust me that I know the words.
Welcome back. The women's water polo team just wrapped up their 2nd season, and I got the chance to sit down with sophomore captain Stephanie Morales to talk about the team and stepping into a leadership role much earlier than expected. Check it out. Hi, welcome to this week's edition of On the Sidelines. I'm Dana, and I'm sitting down with sophomore water polo player Stephanie Morales. Thank you so much for joining us. So I want to get right into it. Water polo is kind of a cool sport at LaSalle because it's actually only in their 2nd year. Yeah. And you were here, you're a sophomore, so you were here for the start of the program. So tell us a little bit about how that experience has been being here for the start of the program.
Well, at first, the first year was a little difficult because we had a small team, and it was kind of hard to scrimmage against each other or just have an organized schedule for us because we had to adapt to other teams that also use the pool and whatnot. But overall, it's been a building experience for the team members, and we could all say, like, my year's team, the OGs, we could say that.
Yeah, you made history. You're the
that
first.
We made history.
You're the first ones. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. And so you're only a sophomore, yet you're one of the oldest ones on the team, being that all of your teammates are freshmen. So you're captain. How have you stepped into that kind of leadership role?
Well, it transitioned over from first year. It was more of a feel, seeing how everyone works with one another. And this year we got freshmen, and we decided to see get a vote for the captain, and it's been a good feeling to guide everyone and support everyone and create that motivation amongst the dynamic of the team. So it's been good. It's been good.
Has it kind of been a little bit tough, knowing that you're responsible for leading these girls, yet you're only a sophomore, you're not even really an upperclassman? Does that get a little weird?
At times, yes. I sometimes hold myself back on telling, being directive with my teammates, because it's a little complicated because of the superiority and whatnot. But there are, there's that good connection that we all have, that we could respect one another, and so it's going well on being a sophomore as a captain.
Good. I'm glad to hear. So you made a huge move from California, correct, to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
That's where you're originally from. So not only tell us a little bit about how that's move has been, but what drew you to come to LaSalle from such a far away state?
Well, San Diego it's a completely different environment than Philadelphia, and I love the experience of a new experience, the getting out of the comfort zone kind of feeling, and the different culture that it is, because even though it's in the United States, it's completely different.
Yeah.
And the city life, I find it amusing, and when I came over for my recruitment trip, I knew I would feel good being here and being part of a first-year program, a water polo team, and learning about the society over here, and broadening my horizons,
Yeah. So do you enjoy city life? Have you been able to kind of go through Philly and wander around a little bit?
Yeah. I found a lot of cool places. Jim's is definitely my favorite cheesesteak place, and it's awesome. It's good. It's good. I like it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And kind of to wrap up, so going into next year, what do you think your team needs, not only improvements on, but also what are the expectations going into next year?
Expectations will be higher, just because we're not gonna go downward. We're building, and we're as many girls that we're gonna have adding onto the team. We need to have more competition amongst each other, and we need to we're gonna have to earn our spots as starters, as second string and whatnot. And I think we're going to pick up some good 7 freshmen coming up.
That's a lot.
Next year. And
are you excited for a lot of new people?
Yeah, I met a lot of them, so I'm very excited to have them on our team, and it'll be fun, because we have girls that are going to fulfill the positions that we lack of strength in, and it'll be good. It'll be nice to have all of these freshmen coming in.
Good. Well, we wish you the best of luck. Thank you so much for sitting down with us. We hope you have a great season next year. Thanks. All right, guys, back to you. So I really enjoyed sitting down with Stephanie. She's a little bit different than all of the other kind of captains that we've had sit down with us, because she's only a sophomore, and I know she talked a lot about that. This was their second. They just wrapped up their second year as a program, and she came all the way from California for this program. Now, that's crazy to me, because it's a new program. You don't know what to expect. You're making a huge move across the country. Like, to me, that in itself makes her really cool, and just a cool leader that she was willing to do that. And I know she was talking a little bit about how as a sophomore she has to be the captain, but she's a sophomore. She's still an underclassman, so I know it made her a little nervous.
Right. Those are a few things that are really tough with a new program, especially.
Yeah.
I know it can't be an easy decision to say, hey, there's a school. I'm graduating college, they are starting a water polo program. Let me travel across the country and play for them.
Yeah.
You don't know the coach. There's no history. There's nothing there. It's a bunch of new girls. There's no carryover.
There's barely a team.
Yeah, it's a very weird situation, and it's got to be strange for her, especially taking over as a captain.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously she deserves it. I feel like when we do talk about them, it's always
she's in it, yeah.
her that we're speaking about.
And the best part about this is, this team gets to say they made history. They were the first LaSalle women's water polo team. So I think that's it's nerve-wracking, but I think it's also really cool.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a big-time step for her, and hopefully they'll be a little more successful next season.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to send it to break. When we come back, Kevin Cook's going to be on and do our Explorer Report for us. Stay tuned.
For my next classes.
"31% of female victims stalked by an intimate partner were sexually assaulted by that partner. For more help, visit www.victimsofcrime.org.
Hi, Eddie Dunn here with LaSalle's favorite TV game show, Q&A. Do you know that LaSalle TV reaches over 300,000 homes in the Philadelphia area? Probably, right? Did you also know there's actually 13 zodiac constellations and not 12? The 13th is called Ophiuchus. But we got rid of that one because it sounds dumb, and also 13 is an unlucky number. So that's why we have 12. Where'd you learn that? LaSalle TV.
So there's plenty of LaSalle sports action this upcoming week, so let us welcome Kevin Cook for this week's Explorer Report.
Thanks, Dana. For this week's addition to the Explorer Report, softball has a 3-game series against A10 rival George Mason this weekend. The Explorers are 1-4 in their last 5 for an overall record of 12-23, while sitting 8th in the conference at 3-8. The Patriots are 2 spots higher with a conference record of 6-8. However, the Pats have won 5 of their last 6. The Explorer defense will be tested as Brooke Sullivan, Jess Kerbira, and Adriana Erickson are all hitting above 300 with over 15 ribbies. The Pats have been able to take over games as they have a deep lineup. The key for this series for the Explorers is to play a complete game. They've blown several leads in the 5th inning or later. Marlo Roadcap and Riley Gerhart need to stay calm and not let the game get out of hand. Another key is for senior Emma Schweiger to get the momentum going as the leadoff batter and have the anchors of Emily Conaway and Taylor Rohrbauer finish it off. With the Explorers will take on the Patriots at West Campus Field on Saturday and Sunday.
So thank you, Kevin. So talk to us a little bit about the team hasn't been that strong. They've kind of been struggling a little bit. They have wins here and there, but tell us why they're really struggling here.
I mean, just in their last 3 games, they've given up 28 runs, and yeah, not too good there. And overall in the season, they've given up 191 runs, and only 40 of them have been unearned. So
only 40?
Only 40 of them have been unearned. So that's obviously a large number as it is right there.
We're not laughing right
But what is that? That's 151 earned runs. I mean, the pitching needs to step it up a little bit there.
That's like a Major League Baseball 162 game number, 151 runs. That's not a number that you expect to see in a softball season. So.
And only in 35 seasons at that, or 35 games at that.
That's not a number that you want to be anywhere near. You want to be much lower than that. You don't even want to be at 70, honestly.
No,
You want to limit that as much as possible. So I honestly think that the pitching could be a big issue. I know there's some bats in that lineup that really do contribute. Like I know Emma Schweigert, I feel like every week we talk about her hitting another home run.
She's up there hitting, I think she's hitting right around 300, and so is Emily Conaway. Our lineup is is somewhat okay. We're 8 deep as far as I'm concerned, because eight players for us are hitting above 200, which is a pretty good average for a D1 softball player.
Right.
And that's the same as George Mason is hitting. However, we just don't have as many players that are hitting above 300 like they do.
Right, and like we were saying, the pitching is obviously the
And when
determining
the
factor.
pitching isn't there, you
Right.
need the runs to score, to follow up on that. And George Mason is coming in hot. They've won 5 of their last 6, so we're really going to have to pitch well in order to keep ourselves in the series.
Yeah, I think over the season we've seen that George Mason hasn't been anything electric. They're not great.
They
They're not a
beat the
standout
teams.
team.
They beat the teams that are lower than them in the standings, and that's what a decent team does.
All right. Thank you, guys. So we actually have predictions for this, so we're going to get that going with Tegan.
Okay. I am apparently the positive person on desk this week. I have the Explorers winning the series 2-1.
That's an oddity for you,
That
too.
is a big time oddity.
Yeah. Well, every time I'm positive, it seems to not go well for me. So I'm going to unfortunately have LaSalle losing 2 and winning 1 of them. So hopefully.
I'd just like to brag that I was the only one right from last week, so you should probably believe what I'm going to say. I have LaSalle sadly losing 2 out of the 3. I do think that they're going to be able to squeak one out. They got a doubleheader, and I think that's going to be the reason why.
Yeah, doubleheaders are tough for anyone to really get through.
Exactly.
Well, that just about wraps it up for us this week. If you can't make it out to see the Explorer Report, be sure to tune in next week for our coverage. Keep up with this weekend's other sporting events by visiting goexplorers.com or check out this week's edition of the Collegian.
Also, check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/LaSalleTV and on Twitter at SportsLine LTV. We welcome you to send us your thoughts and suggestions there.
For Dana, Kevin, and our entire SportsLine team, I'm Tegan Lamont.
And I'm Dana Pecora. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you at the game.